players who, for me, bring something fresh because, you know, they're not at the very top tier. They don't have to play like full on like super serious, everything's perfection. They can play a little bit funky and fun and different, like putting your pylon in the low ground in a PVT, and that's what this man up here is doing in the blue. It is Asuna.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left for Alpha X with a kangaroo in the background. It is Future. That is so funny. I love that. That is amazing. By the way, it is a 13 pylon, so this gateway is going to be a little bit earlier than normal. He may just try and chrono boost out an adept, get something done with that, see what he can get done. This is something that the player Nina used to love doing a lot when she would ladder. She was very, very good with those first couple of units, very strong micro player. And Asuna maybe trying to do something similar with that.
Oh, gas steal as well. It's just going to make it difficult for Future to justify like a non-expansion build, right? So just trying to force his hand a little bit. It's a weird map to do it on simply for the fact it's obviously a larger map, right? It's a little bit of a longer rush distance. So intriguing to kind of go for it here as Future will scout, and he will at least get some heads up of, hey, that's a low ground gateway. He's likely to see the Zealot popping out and get a rough idea of the timing on that as well. So that's good information to work with to make adjustments as necessary back at home to give you the best possible chance of surviving.
Yeah, it certainly is. Asuna, by the way, did not get the quicker cybernetics core despite that faster gateway. Or, well, despite that faster pylon, at least. I'm really confused why, because Asuna, like, started up a probe and then canceled it in order to get the very quick pylon and then didn't get a quicker cyber. I don't know. That's like a weird move to me, you know. It's just a little bit of inefficiency. Oh, nice job, though. The Zealot coming across the map will find an SCV. Oh, we got a little pause being requested. Probably some kind of light. Oh, just kidding. No, we're all good. Okay, he just, you know, maybe needed to change his song. I don't know.
Yeah. That was a very efficient pause, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that was like the fastest I've ever seen.
Usually you expect at least like a moment or two of, well, I'm just got to fix a hotkey, double check something, and yeah, whatever that was, quick, easy to fix, and straight back into the action. As the Zealot and the probe come across the map, Bunker has finished though from Future, and the Zealot can still run by that if it wants to. It might just wait for the first non-Zealot unit here to come across with it, but it's actually going to get by and start to work on that SCV, try and slow down the CC as much as possible already.
Yeah, and this is kind of uncomfortable. The bunker doesn't, of course, cover that entire CC's diameter. So it's going to mean that Future's kind of at the mercy of the RNG a little bit. Also, we will see the Marines getting into the bunker there. Nice job sniping down that SCV, but the Adept getting very low on HP, and he is going to lose both of these early game units. He killed off 2 SCVs in total, and he did delay the command center a lot. But that's kind of expensive in terms of actual losses. I think it's still worth it though. I think it's still probably worth it.
Yeah, I think it's all right. You know, got a bit of a delay. It wasn't a huge deal in the end. This Adept does get blocked, although maybe he could have let that in. I'm not sure if it would have finished, so maybe it would have just been free information for no reason. But he maybe could have let it in and then caught it with the Marines. But I think it's just better to deny the info. That seems to be his plan, and I'm absolutely down with that as well. I was just kind of theory-crafting a little bit in my head what the other possibilities maybe could have looked like. So yeah, just looking pretty good across the board, right? We're kind of getting into a nice, fairly normal game. We're going to get Blink coming up, Robo Facility behind this, going to go to 3 gates at least. So it's going to be a little bit pressure focused, but it doesn't look like we're going to get to 4 gates, and that means that, of course, we can just still get a fairly quick third base. Yeah, it's not going to be right on 4 minutes. They can be like 4:30, 4:35, get that third base going, and you've got a good amount of stalkers to then pressure with as well. So it's a very in-between build of super fast 3CC or super fast 3 Nexus, and obviously super fast aggression.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Future elected to not clear out that assimilator for a while, and he took the gas of the natural anyways, but he could have killed it a lot earlier than he did. Does get the Adept pick off, which is really nice use of that Cyclone. That's going to, you know, kind of blind Asuna a little bit. And it looks like Future skipping that starport says, I'm not building Ravens. You're a crazy person. I have to expect DTs.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice and safe, just making sure he's not going to die to anything. I mean, especially in a match like this, and Asuna has that reputation of being aggressive, a little bit cheeky, I'll give it a little bit cheesy, right? If he has that reputation, don't skimp out on your defense. Don't skimp out on the 200 minerals of turrets just to save your game potentially, right? It's just not worth it. And yeah, that's nice for Asuna that, Future's going to play like that, but it's much better for Future to be prepared ahead of time than just being floundering and losing the game silly, and then you get all flustered, and it just gets in your head from there on out, right? As this push is coming, though, and we'll see what Asuna can do about it. These Cyclones are going to get a lock on, but one goes down, was very slow to pull back. We are going to see some good blink micro from Asuna, and he's trading pretty well up until now, at least.
Yeah, this is a really good situation for Asuna in theory, as long as he's careful. Oh, he's got to be careful. Does not want to push through the smoke. Stim is done, and Future's going to jump on him. Bit of a weird move right there from Asuna. Allows Future to get a couple of stalkers. You got to be so careful pushing through the smoke like that. And I've got to say, I'm very surprised because this is a much more standard game than I expected out of Asuna in general. He didn't come with a whole bunch of prepared builds, or at least not for game number 1. That being said, Starport very delayed here for Future. His Marines are really bruised up.
Yeah, obviously just needs to get that going, and then he'll be in a bit of a better spot. We do get a pick on the Observer. That's one of the nice things you can get rid of, right? I mean, it costs a lot of gas to use. It clogs up the robo facility production. Maybe not super important right now, but yeah, if you want to replace it, it does have an impact. And yeah, obviously just removes information as well, which is one of the most important things you can do in StarCraft 2, right? Remove information, make it so your opponent does not know what's going on, make it so they have to make bad calls, bad judgment decisions. And yeah, that's a nice catch, as that Immortal was on holiday, but unfortunately it's time for his trip back home, just in time to get back and fight on Hardware.
Yeah, that was an interesting migration that Immortal went on. It was in its gap year. It was like, I want to see the south part of Hardwire. I want to see what's going on down there. And, it gets to experience it, tries to join the Peace Corps, I guess, and is like, you know what? Actually, I don't want to tour the south side of Hardwire. There's a lot of Terran down there.
He's like, my the meaning of life to me is just like changed, because like I've seen things now. It's like Space Marines, and like they just like take drugs and shoot fast. Like, it's crazy, man.
Posts on his Instagram story is like #woke. Just like, I understand now.
Well, a couple of stalkers go down as Future does take the jump out of his base, and a big push. I mean, scary army. A little concerned that we're obviously playing no splash damage here. It's very zealot heavy from Asuna, which can be nice, but if a couple of those Widow Mines do get good connections, I mean, that can end everything that Asuna is trying to do right now. So you've got to be very careful with this fight. It's very rare in this day and age. You actually get to see a +1 armor upgrade, as there goes the Prism. That's not pretty. So that's obviously counterattack potential removed. However, here comes the flank, and obviously Future's not ready to fight. The good news is that Future is going to get right up in a corner, and the tanks are going to force the Zealots to clump, and the mines hit beautifully. And yeah, I feel like this becomes a horrible fight from Asuna. No, I mean, these Marines are just sat here shredding Zealots. The Immortals are stuck down on the low ground. There's no force fields or anything available, and Future is going to come rampaging on through. Look to shut this down, and I'm kind of surprised he honestly just didn't keep on going. But I guess it's smart. There's another round of Zealots on the high ground. We all know that Zealot reinforcements can pack a bit of a punch.
Yeah, and he's just going to wait for a couple more medevacs to show up. Oh, that Widowmine. Friendly firing down an SCV. I wait for a few more medevacs to show up. One of them was sniped. The other one was pretty much out of energy. I think it's a wise decision to just chill, heal up, and then go again. He fought just before his opponent's +1 armor was complete. Asuna actually forced that fight. He was only on 2 gases, so I understand that he was looking for a fight, but that just wasn't it. Like you said, Future got himself into a great little spot. He used the tanks to force the Zealots to cluster up. That went very, very well for Future, and now he is, well, this might actually be a game-winning push right here.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, it really comes down to if the Zealots can just about hold on or not, right? And Super Battery is going to help. If I'm Future, I feel like I just dropped 2 medevacs into the main right now, especially if you can afford to drop a scan there and check if there's anything there initially. Engages back in. This is fine if you're drawing the Zealots out of range of the Super Battery, because then the Super Battery doesn't mean anything, and we're just going to dive in on the Warping in Zealots. Back and forth continues. There will be a counterattack on the third of Future. There it is, and a few Zealots that get dealt with easily. He had so many units back at home, so that's beautiful. And this Widow Mine is going to hatch a splash, and that takes the Immortal Shields away. And it does feel like the chunk of this army that was keeping Asuna really, truly alive is definitely disappearing, is definitely being worn down. And obviously, Future is about to reinforce. Once that reinforcement wave comes in, you know it is going to pack a punch that Asuna is not going to get up from.
Yeah, absolutely. Even a nice job from Future to make sure he saves all those units. Just good, solid mechanics. And like you said, the reinforcements, that was about 3 times the size of the army that Asuna just kind of shoved back at that moment. Oh, and that's going to be the 5th Immortal dead in this game on a bad rally right there. Well, first one on a bad rally, 5th one in this game. There's just way too much for Future. Very, very nice pushing and micro out of Future, and he's going to take game number 1.
Just non-stop aggression here from Future. Just kept it going, saw his opening, saw that he had a lead, and boy, did he not wait around and let it slip away. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, which was to come in and get this game closed out. And Future picks up map number 1 here against Asuna, starting off strong.
Yeah, that was really solid out of Future. It's I know I expected it. I called it. I was like, yeah, he's gonna make it look kind of easy, but he made it look really easy. And I can assure you, it is not that easy. It is not that easy to play a game of StarCraft at the pro level and make it look that clean.
Oh, you mean not just anybody can jump in and play in the DreamHack Masters stuff fast? Unbelievable. Can't believe it. No, I was actually really impressed. Like I was saying beforehand, Future for me is someone who's had peaks where he's looked really, really good. Like, he was called the Future Terran, right? And for a while, he very well could have been, and maybe he dropped off from there, but it's cool to see him being able to bring this level once again, being able to come in with such a strong fight to him. Yeah, I like that a lot. It makes me excited because I'd love to see him get playoffs and make a run, because to me, Future's been in those playoffs before, and he's been knocked out by players that didn't expect him to be knocked out by. I remember that season he got knocked down by M Cannon, and that was a great story for M Cannon, but to me, M Cannon is someone that Future should be able to beat in a big best of 5, right? On the big stages. So I really feel like, I'd love to see Future make that deep run. And if he's playing like this, I feel like it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it's still early in the groups. We haven't seen too much yet. He's actually 0-2 in these groups. Now, granted, he's played against 2 Protoss players that are very, very tough. Estrella, who we expect to top 2, or at least prevailing thought would have him expected to top 2, and Trigger, who I actually think is going to be, we're going to talk about that a little later in the next match, but I think he is going to be the player that may shake things up and sneak into one of those top 2 spots.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the matches he's played 2 of the 3 hardest matches in his group. I think that for me, that's like kind of about right for where Future should be. Like, Future for me is that 4th seed in this group. So right now, playing against Asuna, he's definitely playing like it. In the top right, he's the man I just mentioned, the double intro of Asuna.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom left, it is Alpha X's Future. I was thinking for just a sec, I was like, I shouldn't intro him at all to balance it out. I was like, no, that's a terrible idea. This would have happened with no communication.
The problem is then the observer gets stuck. He's like, I cannot move camera until I hear name.
Beep boop, my programming does not cover this eventuality.
Yeah, Niall needs a reboot if we don't introduce the players. Get in trouble. We don't get invited back if we do it. So I've got to keep the observers happy. Love you, Niall. You do great. We just like to bully observers every now and then.
Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite moments is a commentator refusing to intro the players for it had to have been the first minute and a half of the game, and he just kept going with it. He just kept dragging out the conversation. I don't want to say it was Fear Dragon casting alongside. I think it was Fear Dragon maybe casting alongside In Control, and In Control just wouldn't let him intro the players.
Yeah. I know
man,
what you mean.
Yeah.
I do remember for sure. Yeah, no, that's some good memories right there. As we do have our opening the game, low ground gateway. Zealot on the way, by the way. So as soon as he's like, I like it. I like to get my units up in your face. I felt it went okay for him last time, and it was all right.
Yeah, the gas steal is weird again. It seems like maybe this is just what he does. Oh, hang on. Did he not see that there was a gateway that there was a zealot in production? He didn't see the gateway active. He might not necessarily know about the zealot. He is getting the bunker up in a good time, and will it complete in time? It should, right? It's going to be kind of down to the wire, but I think it should be. Yeah, it should be done in time, right?
I think we're good. Yeah, and the SCVs, they have that RNG factor as well, you know. They're pretty cool. They can do things like that. Factory just straight up proxied. That's quite nice. Bunker is done beautifully in time. Marine jumps in, SCV almost wanted to go for I love that. The SCV's like, oh, my body's going to stop building. I'm going to get to building. Nice little bit of rotating around and just keeping that CC moving along as best as you can. Obviously, the less delays you take, the better it is.
Yeah, okay, he does lose one SCV. Oh, a little bit of a miss micro right here on the shade. Actually, okay. I thought he was going to try and shade out with this, but instead he's just going to lose the Adept. Does get the second SCV. Doesn't prevent the command center from going down, so he gets one extra Marine, almost the same as last game, but he doesn't delay the CC as long.
Yeah, you lose the Zealot and the Adept, and that kind of feels a bit sucky, right? But I guess it's not that bad. Like, this is all early units and stuff, so I don't think it's all too bad. This Adept is going to shade up the ramp. Is actually going to get in this time, so isn't going to commit. It is a second Rax that he gets to scout, though. But, of course, the factory is on the map, so that could be a pretty bad scout for Asuna, right? If he's like, oh, second Rax, no factory near the front, looks good. If he doesn't realize it's a factory and Hellion's coming, he could be in some trouble. The Hellion's are an interesting choice, though, when you're not playing a starport, considering the fact that, well, you know, your opponent is literally walling off with that first structure of the game, right? So, kind of interested about that choice from Future. He knows it. He is still going to try and poke through here, and, well, doesn't matter. Wall is open.
That's a pretty massive mistake. There was no reason for that Stalker to not be there. And now the probe is going to get pulled into this. They do stack up a little bit, but it's some good micro from Asuna initially. Oh, the lineup right there does get 7 probes. Can get another 3. He gets 1. So he unstacks those probes, but that was 8 probes for 2 Hellions.
I'm going to go ahead and say that was worthwhile. Wouldn't gets onto the third base as well, so he's going to be able to stop that coming down for a little while here. And, oh, man, we're already in trouble, aren't we? I don't like it already for him, and I hate to say it just so quickly, but, yeah, this is not pretty. That many workers so early in the game, factory just floating home. Second Rax behind it means Future is quick to stim, and being quick to stim just means he's on a nice Bioforce quickly, and that's really good at punishing someone who is just losing workers early game, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's it's a very, very nice thing, because usually the Protoss player is going to chrono boost probes to try and catch up, and if they don't, and you see that they have a big army, or, well, okay, it takes a little bit of, you know, mature decision making, but as long as you see that they have a big army, you can know that they did not rebuild probes or did not put a lot of chrono boost into it, and then you just go home and macro, and you're in a good position either way. We will see this Widowmine finding that probe, by the way. That's a pain, and that's going to actually drag the army of Asuna back across the map while he wants to go forward with this blink completing.
Yep, just I'm going to get blinked in a moment. Stimpack is finished, and a handful of Marines from Future will move out onto the map now, so in they go. I'm just going to be seeing if he wants to really go across. It'd be interesting if he does. Obviously, the support isn't here just yet. He's going to stim for the orbs. The Stalkers are going to show up. He's just going to stim on the Stalkers instead. He'll get 1. He's going to force a big blink back, and he will actually chase for a second, I believe. High ground vision. Doesn't save it. Oh, no. Oh, my God, okay. Oh, actually, this is kind of nice for Asuna. Now he's going to kill all these Marines, and that really removes one of the big threats of Future. I don't think I like it, just because it was kind of scary initially, but now those Marines are dead. The follow-up push is just going to be that much weaker.
Yeah, that was a lot of units that Future lost right there. I don't think he expected the additional Stalkers of Asuna to show up, and they did, and they really made that fight pretty bad, actually, for Future, even though he got a couple more Stalkers than he should have. But he will get jumped on here, Asuna that is, and he's going to lose a couple of his Stalkers. Oh, man, almost loses another one before that blink came back off cooldown. But Future is... Oh, God, Asuna. Oh, no. The blink micro has not been clean out of Asuna.
The problem is the bio is so replaceable, and Stalkers just aren't. Stalkers are something you want to make one time early in the game, and then you just use them kind of throughout the game, right? Like, yeah, you might warp in a few more here and there, but generally you want that core of Stalkers to just stay alive, and For a moment there, I had to ask what units those units were hitting. I feel like we had a Stalker that was meant to die and then just didn't die for ages. 3 more Stalkers going down. It's just so expensive for Asuna, and if you look at resources lost, it's already 1,000 in the favor of the Terran player, so that's fantastic. Yeah, Future is on point. I didn't like the first trade with all the Marines, but he really made up for it for every trade after, and Asuna just not getting his Stalkers out of there quickly enough.
Yeah, I mean, multitasking is no easy feat, and unfortunately for Asuna, he just wasn't up to the task right there. He did not respond quickly enough every time his units were attacked, didn't blink out as cleanly as he needed to, and then at the very end, losing those 3 Stalkers almost for free for just a single Marine. And now we've got the drop in the main base. Widow Mines are going to set up here. There's Zealot Warpins coming on in. A lot of gateways are available, but this is going to be tough to clean up efficiently right here.
Yeah, Stalker's going after the first medevac there, which I like. Widow Mine drop over here, pretty well handled by Asuna. Does get the split off. The Widow Mines get out alive, so do these medevacs out down to the south, so I think it's still fine for Future. He just sits a hell of a lot of supply above Future, above Asuna right now. Above in workers, above in army, upgrades are better. It's a nice blink to remove a medevac, at least removes a little bit of a threat, but the Zealot counterattack does nothing because, again, Future has lots of units at home. I feel like at times that might hurt him, but in this series so far, it's been brilliant because he's never had too few units across the map, and he's always able to deal with the counterattack super easily. Like, they got shut down immediately, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, why are you even trying? Well, you try because you expect the Terran to be, oh my god, I'm doing so much damage, let's just rally across the map, let's finish it. And the counterattack's meant to be great for you, but no, Future's not letting that happen at all. He's playing very calmly, I'd say very responsibly, just making sure there's always the units back at home that are needed.
Yeah, he's crossing his T's, dotting his I's, making sure everything is good here. Asuna, he's only on 44 probes. He's going to just try and win the game right now, but there's absolutely no chance that this attack works. He blinks into a ton of bio. Widow Mine not getting the biggest connection, but gets a couple of units on the retreat. And Asuna says, oh, you have a lot of stuff. Oh, no! He dealt with Widow Mine drop so well before that.
I mean, that one was actually so sad because that one he would have done better if he just left his probe AFK, right? Yeah. Sometimes against mines, no response is better than a late response, right? And that was definitely one of those situations. So, like, if you respond late, you have to basically be like splitting the single probe away if possible. Go from there. Okay.
Oh no.
Marauders, but you know, I knew Marauders were the bullies, man, as the prism goes down as well. Jeez, Asuna just cannot catch a break at this point.
No, yeah, Asuna having almost as bad of a time as that Marine getting blown up by its buddies. Not really buddies after all. I don't know if it went through on the feed, but there was just an arm flying up through the top of 2,000 atmospheres as that happened. That was something else. There's a 50 army supply lead for Future right now. Colossus are great. They're not that good.
Colossus really are great, but yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think. I mean, we don't even have a Colossus out yet, do we? It's just in production. No. It's not going to have range, so Colossus are even worse when they're not actually on the map yet. So yeah, Liberator's going to zone. Widow Mines too. Oh yeah, just run a bunch of units at your third base, and my reinforcements are killing Zealots again, so that's no issue. Yeah, I don't even know how you begin to fight this as Asuna. It might be best just to tap out because this fight's going to be painful, man. He is going to try, of course. Stalkers are in trouble. The super battery's going to be killed. Here's the Colossus. Can he save the day? Spoiler alert, no, he will not. That's just going to be seen the Marauders stimming on through. Warpins just aren't happening. I mean, the Warpins are slow, apparently, because that Palin's not connected to the Nexus somehow. That's just a kick in the teeth as soon as it taps out GG. And I mean, Future in this series really says, hey,